Và để tiếp cận chương trình thì ban tổ chức xin chọn giới thiệu và mời ông Jaewon Peter Chun, nguyên là cố vấn kế hoạch của Ủy ban cách mạng công nghệ thông tin của Hàn Quốc và sáng lập và tổng giám đốc công ty XnTree của nước Anh sẽ lên trình bày với hội nghị chúng ta một cái báo cáo có nội dung là kế hoạch tổng thể xây dựng thành phố thông minh, bền vững và kinh nghiệm từ Anh và từ Hàn Quốc. Xin mời ông, please.
Good morning. My name is Peter Chun from South Korea. Basically, I'm based in London, UK. I was appointed the president of South Korea as the national smart city master planner for 5 months, and it was a very meaningful project because the entire agenda comes from the smart city. It basically based on the building of the ecosystem of innovation, and also, as VIP is talking about, all the innovations and the startup applications and technologies. It should be all combined within the city. So in Korea, it's 2 cities were selected as the pilot smart city project, which is Sejong capital, it's new capital city, South Korea, and also Busan, the second largest city, and also the largest harbor in South Korea. So I was in fully charge of the Busan smart city, which is $10 billion investment was kicking in this smart cities. So let me just talk about. So basically, it's very, very crucial. But a lot of people talking about the technologies and also instruments in infrastructure, software, and also services should be embedded in the smart city. But I'm trying to take a different angles to how to see the entire smart city project. This is very, very important because think about here in this city, Ho Chi Minh City. I've never been here before. This is my first visit to Ho Chi Minh City in my life, and it's awesome. It's a beautiful city. But only one thing that I take a really hard time is very hot, and I just arrived yesterday. It was almost 9-10 degrees, and now here 35, 34. So it's killing me. But anyway. The nature is nature. We're talking about smart city, but here there are a lot of changes by now. Huge challenges to the mankind. The people, they don't die because the development of new healthcare systems, technologies, and also lots of people. Every different cities, we call it as a mega city around the world. So do you know, can you imagine how many people living in this earth? It's 7 billion now. So before you die, I think probably the number of the population could hit almost 10 billion. 10 billion people living in this earth. What's the population here in Vietnam? 96? Wow, okay. So compared to China, India, it's okay. But still, we see lots of people born, and also they have another problems living in the city together. So think about the city. Every cities around the world, they naturally have the problems. There is no such a city without any problems. Even the new city project. I was fully in charge of new project. The living good city is high-tech city. Only 30,000 people living in there. But they will experience lots of different things. They can experience maybe 10 years earlier. But anyway, it's 30,000 people. They are the kind of the test bed. But here in Ho Chi Minh, what do you think about the problems living in this Ho Chi Minh city? What do you think? Do you have any specific complaints living in this Ho Chi Minh city? Just tell me, I'm okay. I'm fine. What's the matter? What's the biggest issues living in this Ho Chi Minh city? What's the price for apartments? Residence. Is it expensive? Is it getting expensive? Yes? How about transportation? I was very surprised visiting Hanoi and lots of people riding a bike. And I was almost thrilled about adventure whenever I just like go from this point to another point. And I think it's much better than Hanoi, but are you satisfied with the current transportation system in Ho Chi Minh City? Why not? Is it efficient or is it not efficient? Not. Okay. So what's the population here in Ho Chi Minh City? I'm not talking about Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh City. How many people living in this city? 10 million? Okay. It's actually, I was born in Seoul, South Korea. It's 10 million now. It's getting smaller because they don't get married and they don't have a child anymore. So anyway, the population is like decreasing at the point. The problem is the Seoul city has lots of problems. Too many people, 25 million people with adjacent cities, like a mega city, 25 million people. Even though there are like more than 25 subway lines in Seoul, still we just struggle with it. But every city cannot be the same, just like your fingerprints. You never seen anybody have like same fingerprints, right? Every city has different, should be different. So there is no standardization when we talking about smart city. So like Delhi MC mentioned about the applications should be embedded in the city, like in Ho Chi Minh or Hanoi, should be different because the lifestyle, culture, and history should be different. You cannot be the same people compared to Hanoi, compared to Seoul. So every city has its own problems. Then my concept of smart city is not the completion of the city, rather than I see that it's a whole procedure. How to solve the challenges and problems in the cities. So based on this concept, I have some assumptions. 2025, everything should be different. Everything should be changed. Just imagine. Do you have a phone? Mobile phones? What kind of phone do you have? Do you have StarTech, mobile phone, 2G, 3G? Anybody has it right now? You all have smartphones, right? Just imagine, 10 years ago, back in 2007, did you have a smartphone? So, can you imagine what's coming to you, your life? 2025. You never know. You never know. So, generally speaking, we have lots of issues here in this Ho Chi Minh City. It could be like transportation, or maybe healthcare, or convenience, or maybe housing problems. Many different problems. Even the sewage problems, water problems, or education problems. But anyway, people living older. So the average life expectancies in here in Vietnam maybe could be 80 or something. It could be maybe 100 anyway. So people don't get a job after retiring, your jobs, and which has lots of problems because younger generations support the older generations. And who's going to take care of it? That's the system. We need to think about it. So new transportations based on the technologies. So we have to predict what's coming to you. Here, maybe the weather conditions, and also the problems with the weathers every day maybe are different. But just think about this one. Have you seen this one before? So first, Industrial Revolution, second one, third one. So we face now here the fourth Industrial Revolution stage. So I'm not going to actually explain everything at a time, but what are the key characters and the distinctive things comparing to those previous 3 different stages in the Industrial Revolution? What do you think about it? What's the major different thing comparing to those? Robots? Okay, robots could be good. Yeah? Robot can think, like based on AI, based on technologies, and based on the new materials. What else? Okay, I'm not going to spend more time here. As you see, even you experience the Industrial Revolution, because Steve Jobs from Apple, he invented something kind of automation systems. Like we just call it a personal computer. In your hand, on your desk, back in 1980s. 2007, he introduced iPhone 1, but it's not about iPhone 1. Most importantly, it's about digital ecosystem, which you just call it as App Store. If you have Android phone, it's Google Play. That's something very, very, very different, because we were very, very accustomed to the systems that we do have a supplier and consumers. It's distinctive definition, suppliers and consumers. But here in Fourth Industrial Revolution, we cannot define them. We cannot. One example, one of my friends from the US, and he's also an investor, and his son is only 15 years back then, about 5 years ago. He was addicted to the game, mobile game. He just spent 10 hours every day playing the game. Maybe if you are the father of middle school students or high school students, you have maybe same or similar experience. This kid spent a lot of time killing his time playing games, but at the same time, he has a gift. He knows how to coding. So one day, he invented a sort of the mobile game and then uploaded on App Store. His father one day founded the subscribers of his son's free mobile games was downloaded more than 10,000. And he thought, okay, I can't really abandon my son, but anyway, I can actually help him a little bit. So he spent more money to make a free version into the payable version. So some months later, this little kid made a lot of money. Monthly basis, more than $6 million US. But he doesn't know the customers. He never been to Costa Rica, he never been to Brazil, he never been to South Africa. But the customers, the users of this mobile game from those countries he never been to. What a striking news. That's post-industrial revolution. We just call it as simple keyword, P2P, peer-to-peer, person-to-person, people-to-people. So this new digital ecosystem, people get connected to each other. Voluntarily, actively, they can share something based on the data. So I believe that smart city should be connected. Hyper-connectivity is the key, based on open data. So the city should be open to the data. I think the Vietnamese government, almost, 100 million people? Huge number of data. But the key thing is how to analyze those data. How to just drag the very healthy data. It could be successful within the city. So here, South Korea, Japan, they're so strong in manufacturing systems. Now, you see that value added is very low. You already know that Silicon Valley, USA, in the last 8 years over Obama administration, they lost almost 2 million jobs. As a return, they also had 1 million new jobs. Still, we have a deficit of 1 million. But regarding the value added aspect, they are getting stronger now. And also affected the new ecosystem in London. So I was also the founder of the accelerator based in level 39, which is the largest European open tech cluster. We was doing the blockchain, fintech, cybersecurity, and AI. So we produced more than 13 unicorn startups from London. So it changed a lot. The city changed based on the new demands from the younger generations. So the city contains these new concept ideas and technology and services you never imagined. So it's kind of a rolling cart. They're rolling very fast. And you will imagine something. I'm going to skip this part. Let me just tell you about what's the Korean side. So based on my experience in the US and Israel and the UK, so the President Moon of South Korea appointed me to take care of the designing the whole infrastructure of smart cities in South Korea. So initially the government has made a lot of money, $10 billion US. 2 cities, because they were so nervous. If they fail, they're losing money and they lose opportunities, they're losing jobs. So the designing the master plan was crucial. So we designed it 2 different cities. One city, new capital. It's totally new city, like Canberra, Australia, or Ottawa in Canada, just like that. A small city, but lots of ministries and government agencies located in this small town. Busan Eco Delta City is, it's a new town, but it's inside of the 2nd largest city in South Korea. So if you take a look at it, living district, Eco Delta City. But I don't know about the systems of regulation of tech and services in Vietnam. And here in Korea, we have very tough regulations. You cannot do any business with Uber. If you do Uber, it's illegal. You go to jail. And if you do have the Airbnb services, you are indicted. Okay, so it's high, tough regulations in South Korea, but these 2 designated area, everything is possible. Regulation free zone, and that everybody can do something. But okay, this is a new city. Technologies cannot be the prioritized when you think about the smart city. Citizens, people, they should be the first one. Should be upfront. Let me give an example. Have you been to Nice, Southport, beautiful beach in France? Anybody been there? Nice? Okay. It's beautiful, right? You know what's the population in Nice? It's 340,000. It's not big, it's not very small, but 340,000 people living in Nice. Can you imagine how many visitors stop by Nice to enjoy the beach or do their businesses with French people? How many people stopping by visiting Nice yearly basis? 5 million? Okay, that's a big number. Okay, what else? Okay, answer is striking. 120 million. 120 million people visiting Nice. Include the statistical number when you actually stop over. You don't sleep inside of Nice, but you just, leave your baggage at the airport. You just go inside the Nice, downtown beach, and come back to the airport and also transfer to your flight. But 120 million is a very big number. Do you have any statistics? How many people visit Ho Chi Minh City? Yearly basis. Anybody? Government? City government? Do you have a statistical number? How many people visited Ho Chi Minh City yearly basis? So, this is the city we need to think about. So, who we actually serve? Not technology, not services. People first. What kind of people? Residents, citizens, and also maybe potential citizens in the future. Visitors, not one-time visitor, continuous visitors. You have to convince them So I love Ho Chi Minh City now. I can be maybe continuous visitors to Ho Chi Minh, and that's actually based on the systems here in Ho Chi Minh City. Okay. So this is actually the city design I prepared for the last 5 months, and it has only 30,000 people living in it. It's a very small city, but it's amazing. And this city actually meets 3 different functions: people, nature, and technologies. So there are 3 keywords should be combined together to have the cities and actually attract people outside of Korea. So this is like the first international city in Korea, but has more powerful innovation levels compared to Singapore or maybe Hong Kong. So the size of it, and this is a little size, I think it's 1/20th of Manhattan, New York City. It's very small. But we just like to start testing as a test bed with services and technology and everything. So I put up a vision, a global innovation growth city that meets nature, people, and technology and accelerates future life. And if you want to be maybe back to the future, okay, maybe it's worth to living in the city. So that's the design now. And the value is also important. So what would you actually get? If you live in this city, that should be a benefit to your life, right? So fostering the first industrial revolution technologies like digital technologies and improving quality of life. And you can experience anything you want. And there's no such a stress on paying the bills to the house, like expensive rental fees and everything. It should be digitally coordinates with your income level. So number 1 agenda I actually created was technology sandbox and open factory for innovative companies. How many startups, how many innovative companies situated here in Ho Chi Minh City? Do you have the statistics as well? Innovations, startups, how many startups? I don't know, like a Dell EMC is also, Dell EMC is one part of my working group in Korea. But I think probably Microsoft, Dell, SAP, and Intel, these guys are actually trying to foster the startups to, maybe we have the same things. So this is very important. Singapore, if you go to Singapore, anybody been to Singapore? Probably it's very close from here, right? So if you go to Singapore, what's the thing that you like? It's very clean. It's a green city. And diversity is really high. But one thing they don't have is innovation. Singapore is a small country. 5.6 million people living in there. But we're just talking about the first industrial revolution, digital economy, P2P level, and the market size is very important. And high educated market size is very important. The reason why I'm here in Vietnam because I see the potential. Education level is very high compared to other cities in Asia. And you do have maybe on the right track if you're actually just aiming at innovation. So smart city in innovation cannot be different. Those innovation platforms should be embedded in smart city. Let them fix the problems. Let them design something new visions in the future. So I think when I was in London back in 2011, inside of, you cannot imagine how expensive living in London. It's very expensive. Everything is very expensive. So startups cannot have any opportunity to work inside of London, but 2011, only 100, 200 startups. Now, you will meet more than 60,000 startups. 100 unicorns popped up in those new ecosystems. Just like Silicon Valley. Just like the Israeli Tel Aviv Wadi. So, this ecosystem of innovation also driving the new ecosystem of the cities. This is very, very important. And the water. I see that lots of water in Vietnam. That's a good thing, because you can utilize water into the city or maybe the lifestyles. It's worth it. And also digital city, I think probably maybe the importance on data is I can really just continuously emphasizing on the importance of the data. So I think the balance between the government side and the private sector should communicate on data, how to utilize it. And I'm going to skip this slide. And this is also important. So I designed this National Smart City pilot project, but I was engaged in London Smart City, and also I'm taking a role as an advisor to 5 international cities in Europe and Asia. But these guys, this city, they just try to stick together by themselves, not working together with other cities. Okay, you build up the new ecosystem of innovation and city, okay, that's fine. But if there's no communications or connectivities with other cities, you have a limit in the future. So, best reference, experience, solutions, and also innovation should be combined with other cities keen to do something with smart city. I just call it as cross-validation smart city tech sandbox. For example, Ho Chi Minh City can work with Busan. Ho Chi Minh City work with even Hanoi. Ho Chi Minh City will also work with Paris and France. So that is actually making the city problems much more smart way in the future. So I suggest these things to the Korean government and also these cities and the governments up there. So they like it. We actually just touching it maybe from this year. R&D is very important. Per GDP capita in South Korea, national budget on R&D, #1 in the world. Israel, #2. Probably Germany, #3. But the problem is, there's no distinctive performance outcome spending lots of money on R&D. Because I mentioned, it should be global, it should be international approach. Because South Korean government spends its own thing inside of the market. So it has lots of flaws on it. So R&D should be tested everywhere, every smart city project. And regulation, I already mentioned that is very important. So this is also maybe tricky because what would be the benefits and carrots for the people, residents living in this kind of city? I believe that we just talked about the Bitcoin and everything. Advantages or disadvantages, about the cryptocurrencies. But if we input the righteous values using those cryptocurrencies, I think this could be another option in the realistic future. So, for example, Ho Chi Minh Coin, Ho Chi Minh token to be traded. If any one of you actively spend lots of time, your effort to using the data, then you get the benefits as a winner, as a word. So this is actually on my part, and if you have any questions, and I just happy to discuss with you. Thank you very much.